And we have a pretty spicy matchup on our hands here between Liyab and Nexplay. And let me just tell you about how these teams did in their group stages. We had Nexplay going completely undefeated, 3-0 to top off their group, whereas Liyab, they finished in second, but they were going against some pretty high tier pros from another mobile MOBA here. So they went 2-1. They actually went 5 and I believe 2 in games played. So pretty dominating fashion from both of these teams as we get into our first ban pick here. And it looks like right off the bat, we're going for a ban on supports. No Braum and no Alistair here, Infinity, and even starting off with a Lulu.
Yeah, I like the priority here by Nexplay Esports. They prioritize that Lulu very, very strong. Still not nerfed in the patch 2.1 in League of Legends Wild Rift. It's gonna be very exciting. D2, you know what? It's PH versus PH. It's a top of the tops matches right now, and I'm excited to see on how the draft is gonna turn out. But D2, you know what? Gragas being hovered here by Liyab Esports, unexpected misfortune to come through. This is the synergy duos that is really, really strong when it comes to team fights, right? You have the ultimate bit of Gragas, then follow through with the bullet time.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I do want to talk about Lulu for a second, though. You talked about her not getting nerfed. I think that's partly because the devs only have data on ladder play, right? And on ladder, people aren't going to be synergizing picks very much. And Lulu is just so good with a certain group of champions, that I feel like once more competitive data comes out, once people start playing more competitive, and there's like more sanctioned events, then I feel like Lulu's going to get the ban that she probably deserves, because I think her win rate is just through the roof in competitive play, because of the fact that in this sort of environment, players and teams are going to be pairing her with those champions that she pairs well with. Whereas on the ladder, she's just kind of like willy-nilly picked, right? And it's like, oh, this champion seems good, and then obviously she's going to be losing matches where she doesn't have a good target or good synergy with her allies. Target for the wild growth, I mean.
Yeah. And look at that. Liyab Esports hovering onto that Orianna. They really want to go for those synergy plays, those team fight potentials to really just emphasize the power of misfortune when it comes to the 5v5 clashes later on to the matchup. But let's see. Janna being locked here by Nixu as well from Liyab Esports to give Misfortune a probable early game advantage when it comes to the 1v1 fight. Especially we have the Jinx as well. That knockup is going to be important.
Yeah, I do like I always like the pairing of Misfortune and Orianna. Just have extreme backline damage, right? Just consistent backline damage. Obviously the Greg is there to kind of, well, I mean, apart from him just being an all-around solid champion who can kind of play multiple roles and is very flexible, apart from that, he can just kind of he can just spring your backline from someone jumping on them, right? If they have a Zed, he can just use his ult to push them off, kind of just be annoying in that regard. But I do admit, seeing the Janna can obviously be very powerful, and obviously her ultimate can do the same, function as far as peeling champions off the backline, but it just makes me uncomfortable a little bit, because it's like Janna, I just feel so much more safe with a beefy frontliner. Obviously Alistair and Braum aren't in this game, so perhaps there wasn't really any other choice, but it just feels bad when you're relying on the Janna to keep both your Orianna and your Misfortune safe. In any case, we have the Jinx, like you mentioned, which is not typically picked these days, and the Aurelion Sol, excuse me, who has been up and down. Last time we saw Aurelion Sol, he was really powerful. I'm talking about in this tournament, but it depends on the wielder. Obviously, though, we're gonna have a person who is completely capable of wielding him this time, though.
Yeah, I think it's a comfort pick, right? I think it's a comfort pick by Nexplay Esports. I've seen them play it in Asian Brawl when it comes to the group stages, the qualifiers. And they were really, really dominant when it comes to playing that champion. And I think for the reason because you have the mobility from the Aurelion Sol, in addition to the huge AoE stun that it already has as well. So I think it's a matter of trying to alleviate the lack of CC potentials coming in for the side of Nextway Esports, considering they only have the Olaf, right? They have the Lulu. So they're lacking in that space, and the Reliant Soul is gonna balance it out.
I'm not really sure who won this draft. It seems very even in my book. I do feel like Liyab has gone for more of an outplay potential type of lineup, right? With the, I mean, Misfortune is kind of more or less an auto attacker, but the rest of the team is like focused on chaotic team fights and one-on-one outplay potential. Obviously, the Lee Sin going to be that. The Greg is going to be able to provide that potential as well. But like this, I just feel like it's just going to be a lot of kiting with the Misfortune and the Orianna, making sure to get as much damage while not getting hunted down, and then the rest of the team just kind of playing around them. Right? It's like a game of cat and mouse the entire time, where they're trying to deal as much damage while pushing them around, and then just trying to outplay them the entire time.
And in addition to the AoE CCs from Liyab Esports, you also have the Lee Sin, right? A good skirmisher when it comes to trying to go for that ganks early into the matchup and even to the late game when you really want to go for the steals, when you really want to go to assassinate a single individual against the enemy team, you could just kick him out of the way and get the kill for your team. And that is going to be very important. So Liyab Esports is going to take it to another level when it comes to draft, and Nexplay Esports as well, going in for that ganking potential. When it comes to skirmishes, I think Nexplay Esports has the upper hand.
I look at both of these teams and they're just very fragile to me. I just feels like whoever gets the first pick in a team fight is going to win the fight. It just feels like that way to me, right? Like, because I could see so many scenarios happen. I can see Nexplay trying to jump on Liyab, and them failing to do so because Misfortune and Orianna are able to get away, and then just all of a sudden you have Lee Sin doing tons of damage, or splitting them apart. There's just chaos everywhere. I could also see the wild growth going on to the Olaf, where he kills 5 people at once. I could see the same kind of thing happening to the Jinx. I could see like pickoffs coming from the Camille. I could see pickoffs coming from the Lee Sin and the Gragas, and just I feel like these team fights have high potential to be very chaotic. And high potential to be a complete blowout either way. I could see complete team aces for either side in these team fights, and it's just very volatile, in my opinion.
I mean, it's just a matter of how it goes, right? For Nexplay Esports, when you're talking about aces, you have the potential to do so with the Aurelion Soul with the full man stun against the enemy team. Then you also have like the Olaf, the Camille doing those damages, and with the AoE potential of the Jinx as well. So I think that is the scenario when it comes to aces, as you've talked about. And for Liyab Esports, you have the Orianna, rather. You have the Misfortune. It's gonna do it all for the AoE damage, and the Gragas as well. So I think these are the optimal solutions. These are the optimal scenarios for both of these teams.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that's going to cause these team fights to be so volatile is there's no true front line for either side, right? You have kind of pseudo front line. You can, Camille kind of gets in there and can be a bit tanky. Olaf, he can do a ton of damage. He's somewhat tanky himself, but once he pops a Ragnarok, he actually loses a lot of armor and magic defense. So that makes him a little bit squishy getting in there. He's not like a true front line. He's not even as beefy as say like a Braum or Malphite, for instance. And then on the other side, you have obviously some shielding from both Lulu and Janet, but it's limited. Gragas is he's I'm not so sure. Then Lee Sin obviously is going to get in there, get out. So what I'm trying to say is there's not a whole lot of beef in this game. Not a whole lot of people are going to be dropping left and right. It seems like.
Yeah, and to add on to that one, I think the Janna as well is picked out by Liyab Esports to try and defend the Misfortune, right? With the ultimate, right? So when it comes to team fights, when you have the Camille going through to the back end, you have the Olaf trying to go and kill off Misfortune. You have the Janna as a safe play. You have the ultimate knocking out the enemy heroes, and that is where the other CC potentials come through for Liyab Esports against Nexplay Esports.
Oh, sorry, I was muted for a second. I was actually talking to myself. I think I talked to myself for a second. My bad. So what I was saying to myself was that we talked about the team fights and how they can be very volatile, but perhaps more important than the team fights themselves is actually the laning phase, because whoever gets ahead in the laning phase could actually what could actually decide, who actually gets ahead in those team fights. So, how do you see this laning phase going here? I feel like the Janna and the Misfortune are going to be extremely powerful in that dual lane in particular.
I mean, you have the knockup rate, you have the healing potential, you have the sustainability for your Misfortune to stay alive further. So I think, yeah, I do agree on that statement.
People don't realize that actually the Janna's shield, even though it's a pretty long cooldown in the early game, it actually does give extra damage to the to your ADC. So that's going to be pretty huge as far as just keeping away the opposing side. As far as our other matchups, we have the Aurelion Sol obviously going against Orianna. And then over in the side lane is going to be Gragas going off against the Olaf. Or excuse me, not the Olaf, the Camille. So pretty interesting matchups all around here.
Yeah, and when we're talking about an Aurelion Sol, I'm expecting a lot of roams to come through. And because of the mobility, he could just go from lane to lane in ease. So Aurelion Sol, something to be seen through for this game.
Okay, yeah, Orianna taking quite a bit of damage. Lulu helping out in the beginning there, and then Aurelion Sol doing a bit of extra damage himself. So already have Rubik's on our Orianna in a bit of trouble, getting frozen out of the lane here by our Nexplay player with a Chuli. I'm trying to read their names. I know how to be able to say their names properly. I guess I can just read the rights, the left and right panels instead of just staring at the middle of the screen. But, yeah, we have Arisen, Chuli. The Japanese name is Jinsei no Tabekata, which is like the way of the way to eat life. Not really sure what he means by that. Yeah, I live in Japan, so anyway. And then we have Jushi, Uzi, and then on the Liyab side we have Migi, 3SH, Rubik's, Nixu, and Gambit on the Misfortune. So those are our players. Let's see how this pans out.
Yeah, and looking at the bottom lane right now, I think it's actually quite an even playing field for both of these teams right now, as Jinx and Misfortune is trying to get a hold of themselves. But I think Misfortune, when it comes to poking capabilities right now against the Jinx, is gonna be more dominant because of the first skill, the skill shot of the Misfortune. And I think that is what hurts when it comes to a Misfortune. And that was a failed skirmish in the top lane. Let's see how it's gonna turn out.
Yeah, exactly. They tried to go onto the Camille, but she's able to get out of here. Had to burn her flash though, so couldn't just get out with her typical wall hop. Lee Sin seemed to be in a bit of trouble, but he's able to get on out of there. Does give up the Rift Scaler though, and so it looks like I believe Rift Scalers both of them have gone over to Nexplay. So doesn't seem like a big deal, but having that vision allows you to rotate much more confidently, particularly when you are worried about what the opponent might be doing as far as taking objectives and such.
I mean, you have the knowledge on where the enemy jungler would be. You have the knowledge of potential gank that may occur going from the top lane to the mid lane, or vice versa, from bottom lane into the mid lane. So it's going to be very important.
Oh, okay. I was not expecting Aurelion Sol to be dominating this mid lane matchup so badly. He's actually doing an incredible job here, and that means Orianna has to go back, and he's going to go ahead, instead of facing the wave, going to go ahead and clear as quickly as possible, so he can potentially go for a gank. Curious to see. No, he's going to go ahead and go back. So he wanted to just get that far and be able to have a couple seconds to get back here. Taking a look at this gold at the moment, Aurelion Sol sitting in a fat 2.7k. Shares that with the Jinx as well. Highest member on the side here of Liyab is that Misfortune at 2.6k. Sharing that lead with our Gragas. And as you can see, small but potentially reasonable lead here for Nexplay in that gold, up about 500.
The pressure that they're putting out against Liyab Esports is quite considerably big right now, and Aurelion Sol in the near future is going to be dominating potentially the map, as he has the ultimate, he has the skills to go from lane to the lanes. I keep on repeating this because it is going to be very important, but it looks like they're setting up for a fight.
Ult comes out here from Camille. They're going to be jumping on this Orianna, and she is as good as dead. There's no real way to keep her alive. Camille does get halved in health here, and she's actually going to rotate over to the Dragon, allowing for the Gragas to push over in that top lane, but they're deeming this to be more important. In fact, Camille's going to go back to base, as they can see multiple members of the side of Liyab already, or still in lane, excuse me. and taking this very cavalierly. Okay, so he does have the smite, so it's going to be going over to the side of Nexplay as they able to secure the first dragon of the. Oh, that is a fat finger right there. That is a fat finger from our Janna. Pops her ult by accident. That's a bit unfortunate.
Unfortunate it is. They're gonna get the Mountain Drake to the side of NXP. And yeah, it's just a matter of methodological play coming in from Nexplay Esports, right? They've taken the Orianna kill from the mid lane, and with Orianna out, there is no potential AoE coming in for the side of Liyab Esports. Now, considering that Gragas is also on the top lane, so it's a matter of having that 5v3 situation once more. We've seen it through from the first series, like Omega Esports against 16-bit gaming, and we're seeing once again here for NXP versus Liyab Esports.
Yeah, I think the word you're looking for is methodical. So yeah, methodical gameplay coming out here from Liyab, or from both sides, excuse me. But yeah, Nexplay doing an extremely good job of kind of navigating this game. That said, they're only up 1k gold, so I do like the fact that Liyab is not panicking. They're only down 1k gold. They're down 1 dragon buff, but it's not a hugest deal. They're going to be perfectly all right. We do have a switch here out of Nexplay. Camille going into the bottom lane, and Liyab immediately recognized that they're going to go for a potential 3-for-1 gank here, but looks like Lee Sin is not going to commit. Realizes that Aurelion Sol was going to be on the way, but they're abusing their position. Oh, here comes the Lee Sin jumping onto the Aurelion Sol. He's going to have to try to get out of there. The ult comes out from both players, and he gets popped off. He gets knocked out of existence by the ult from Orianna. The ult comes out from Jinx as well, but unable to finish off those members. Lee Sin's going to be a little bit greedy and take Orianna's fruit, but they're going to be perfectly fine. Oh, never mind. Excuse me. They're not going to be fine. In comes the Camille as well as the Olaf. Lee Sin tries to re-engage onto the Camille, try to get at least 1 kill before he dies, but he's going to die nonetheless as they're going to turn their targets over to the Rift-Tailed. Camille's still extremely low, and she's going to go ahead and back out of there as she realizes that Gragas could potentially just come in and kill. Ward comes out. Ult comes out from Gragas. Not really sure that was completely necessary. A little bit of panic play coming out here from the side of Liyab. As I don't have a screen right now. Do you have a screen? Yeah. I don't have a screen.
I don't have a screen as well. But Dave, we can talk about how the process of Nexplay is doing them very, very good.
Sorry about that. We have a little bit of tech issue over here, so a little bit of screen problem. We're disconnecting and reconnecting back up right here.
Yeah. As I was saying, it was like perfect. They were trying to go for those responses in the mid lane. It was super good. They were trying to get those kills. They have the Olaf to come through with the Camille, taking a lot of kills down. And on top of that, they've taken a turret as well. So it's basically gonna be a 5k gold league coming in for the side of Nexplay Esports.
Yeah, very well played. But then they actually contributed 5 to that top lane. We're gonna get a replay from about a couple of minutes ago. Kind of crazy how that turned out as the ults came in. But you can see that the video map on our replay, the Olaf and the Camille not letting them getting away, actually using the leg sweep along with the flash there to pick that up. Lisa nearly gets the kill onto the Camille, and then they obviously set their sights onto the Rift Herald. I'm actually, producer Dave, did the Rift Herald get released to take out that top turret, or was that just taken normally? Okay. Okay, well, Dave doesn't remember, but that's perfectly fine. Regardless whether the Rift Herald was released or not, it's still about 4.5k gold lead here for the side of Nexplay. They have really been dominating this game thus far.
Although the Infernal Drake is now open, this is going to be very important for any of these teams. This is going to produce percentage bonus damage for the one who takes it. So it's going to be the contest. It's going to be the take. But actually very interesting that Liyab Esports just freely let it go for the side of Nexplay Esports, considering that Camille wasn't there as well. So
yeah,
interesting.
Yeah, it looks like Liyab are playing this very passively. Not sure if they could have contested that properly, but certainly something to keep in mind. But that ult aside, it looks like Olaf is on the chase. Oh my goodness, that is 3 members dropping in a matter of seconds, and it looks like Orianna is going to drop as well. All right, it looks like giving up the dragon didn't matter in the end. That passive play actually hurt them because 4 members go down in quick succession. Olaf showing how powerful he can be. Oh, and there's Rip Tail. That answers our question. Rip Tail's gonna go backwards into the turret, and yeah, it turns out not being susceptible to crowd control is really good. Infinity, that Olaf just shrugging off the Janna there.
Yeah, when you have the Ragnarok, when you have the ultimate of Lulu for yourself, you're basically literally unstoppable when it comes to that one. And
Oh,
it's
goodness.
just, you know what?
Oh.
He's dominating. He was like flashing all the way, going in for that double kill, going in for a lot of slows. And that is something to be scared about by Liyab Esports. That Lulu ult, I don't know, D2. It should be nerfed at this point. We're seeing it grow. We're seeing it happen. It's really
I don't think it
dominant.
would have made a difference though, because everyone, the coordination was just absolutely perfect there from Nexplay. You got the Olaf coming in with his ult, so he doesn't get affected, right? And then, but then you have the Aurelion Soul coming in at the exact right time. They're using his third ability to hop over the walls, and just everyone was there was no hope. There was no hope. There was no place to run. They were stuck between not even a rock and a hard place, but also a boulder and a cliff on either side as well. There was nowhere to run for Liam. That was really well played by Nexplay here. And Nexplay trying to put the finishing touches on this game. They're about 9K up in gold, and they're just putting on a masterclass here. Liyab playing very passive though. What do you think about that? Just overall this game, I mean.
For Camille?
No. Liyab has been playing this game extremely passive from the beginning. I just wonder what you think about that.
Yeah, I think they're respecting NXP, because if someone dies for the side of Liyab, we don't know what could happen next, right? Because earlier into the matchup, for the mid lane, they got the Orianna. They went for the Dragon and they've taken it. And once more, when the Rift Herald came, they've taken a kill. They're going in for that objective. So once more, I think Liyab Esports was thinking, you know what? We should not be killed by NXP so that we could potentially try and contest something that could happen next. And I think Nexplay Esports is taking it the safe route on not taking an objective without taking a kill, without taking something for them to have that advantage when you're taking the objective. So I think Liyab Esports being respectful, just going in for that passive play.
Yeah, I think, and the thing is, like, Nexplay, you can see they're only taking their chances when they see a clear opening, right? Like, you saw that gank over to the bottom lane and able to kill those 4 members, but only because they realized that that Liyab was out of position. So really nice patient play here from Nexplay. They're not really forcing anything. They're only taking, you know, they're taking calculated risks here. Every single time their opponent seems to be out of position, they go for it. When it seems like they can take an objective, they go for it. We're taking a look at our items here. It looks like multiple. We're up to looks like 3 items for most of our players here on Nexplay. Three completed non-boost items, I should say. So they are definitely power spiked, and that's why Nexplay are doing so well in these team fights.
I mean, it's just a matter of weighing out the potential risks and potential benefits for your team, right? If you get a kill, what would happen next? If you get the objective, what would happen next? I think Nexplay Esports is just thinking about it in the same way Liyab Esports is thinking about it as well. So it's just a matter of weighing it out. And at this point in time, Liyab Esports has a lot of risks involved in this game.
Yeah, for sure. Well, looks like a very easy Cloud Dragon going over to Nexplay. That's 3 dragons to their name. I forget the timing, but I believe the next one is going to be the Elder Dragon, and if they do pick that up, they're going to be pretty far ahead. Obviously, they're already pretty far ahead as it is. Just kind of going through the motions here. Obviously, I mean, they are up 10K gold, but they don't know that. I think if they knew the actual gold score, like the observers, like the God vision that we have, then I think that Nexplay might go for potential 50 or try to bait out a skirmish around the Baron. But oh well, speaking of skirmish, we're gonna have one between the Gragas and the Camille here. Oh, actually, very nicely done on the Gragas with that ultimate, and that means that it's gonna have to force a flash out here from our Camille. Had to turn tail and run, but that Orianna was on that side. Big ball coming out for the Aurelion Soul, and the massive damage coming in from his side. Already the G has been popped onto the Lee Sin, and blue team is able to pick up the Baron Nashor as they have that on the side already. Janna goes down as well. That is what, 2 members down. That's going to be another member going down as well as Misfortune falls as a 13K gold lead. That is a Baron, and that is potential march to victory here for Nexplay.
Okay, let's talk about that. Camille baited out into the bottom lane. Look at this one. They've baited out 2 champions. into the bottom lane.
Oh, look
And
at
with
this
Aurelion
ball.
Sol, yeah,
Look at this Aurelion.
we've talked about it a while ago. The massive AoE potential when it comes to CC from the Aurelion Sol is gonna be big time for NXP, and they've showed us how it really works, right? It's really, really strong, and it's a matter of, you know, that the triple AoE discussions coming in from Oriental is really big as well. So it's constant damage, its CC potentials against Liyab Esports is taking them down. So it's a matter of baiting out the enemy team and getting the benefit out of it.
Oh boy. Okay, we're taking a look at Jinx's build here. And she is quite buff, to say the least. Obviously, getting massive damage out every time she attacks him. Obviously, getting the AOE. I forget what the name of the red item is, but that's what that does. Oh, okay, another massive ball potentially coming from earlier. So we were talking earlier about the Janna and the Misfortune being like a pair, right? And okay, never mind. Hold that thought. Olaf doesn't want to wait for any explanation. He's going to go in for the kill. 1 is down, 2 down, 3 down, 4. I feel like the count from Sesame Street as just people are dropping left and right from Liyab, excuse me, and that is complete ace. That is going to be the game. That is a dominant performance here from Nexplay.
Yeah, it's a lot that happened from that game number 1, and I think once more we've seen how responses, how reacting to certain scenarios was really for the side of NXP on that game. It's undisputed matches, it's undisputed ganks from NXP taking the lead for this game. So yeah, really, really big plays coming in from Olaf onto the mid to late game when it comes to trying to get those kills against the enemy team. And of course, also trying to go for the objectives as well. I think Olaf's really key on those certain parts, and I think he deserves the MVP for this game.
I think it was just whoever was the shot caller deserves the MVP because they were completely together on all their fights. We talked in the draft how both sides had very kind of squishy lineups, right?
Yeah.
And I could kind of see, you know, aces going either way. And for Nexplay, I think they completely understood that. They completely understood that like we can only go in when we have a complete advantage, right? And we have them, you know, we have them out of position or something like that. And sorry, Dave?
I just said, what a great match.
Okay, sorry. Were you just trying to tell us something?
No, I said, what a great match. Go ahead.
Right. I was just saying that, like, even though Nexplay got 18 kills, right? It wasn't like they were getting like, you know, 2 kills every other. They were getting a kill a minute, right? It wasn't like they're consistently killing. It was like 3 kills, wait 5 minutes, ace. Wait 5 minutes, ace, right? It was like they were getting these bunches of kills because they weren't just going in randomly. They weren't just blind aggression. They only went in when they knew that their opponents were out of position.